Hello everybody, this is going to be a quick video on how to get signed up and set up with goormIDE. goormIDE is a wonderful online web-based integrated developer environment. Now you could simply just set up all this stuff on your own machine. The problem with that is that there's a little bit on the back end you'd have to go through the trouble of getting set up. You have to install a bunch of stuff, and since a lot of our students are not working on their own machines, they're working on Coker machines, or you're working on multiple machines. This makes it easier because it sets up basically a cloud machine that you can access from anything with the web browser. So it just makes your life a little bit easier, especially in this class. Now, once you get out and get on your own, you start developing on your own, it's going to be easier, I think, to set up your own developer environment on your own machine. But for the purposes of this class, especially for those who are using Coker devices, do this. So what you're going to do is you're going to get signed up, use the link that I provide in the syllabus and on Blackboard, because that will let you skip the verification process. And sign up is super simple. It's literally just click on your Google account and then click on your whatever Google account you want to use, and then it'll ask you a couple of questions that you can even skip, and then it'll take you right to your dashboard. Your dashboard looks like this, and you can set up multiple containers. Containers are basically, you can think of them like virtual machines. Because we're on the free version, we don't have a lot of CPU, we don't have a lot of memory, we've got barely any storage, and you can only have up to 5 different containers, 5 different machines, and only one of them will be running at a time. Another thing to note is that none of them are always on, which means that when you load them up, you may have some time for it to spin up, so just be aware of that. It's not a lot of time, it's probably a minute or so, but just be aware of that. If you find yourself loving goormIDE and you want to continue to use it, they have upgraded versions. You can pay them. It's a relatively small monthly fee, I think. We'll look at it. Yeah, $7 a month for a student, and you can have, there's a lot of cool stuff. 2 of them you can run 2 at the same time. None of them are always on, unfortunately, but you can have 2 at the same time. You can have, let's see how many containers. You can have up to 10 containers, and you can collaborate with other people, with 10 other people instead of just 5. So there's a lot of different stuff, a lot of cool stuff that you can do. If you decide to go premium, it's only $18 a month, which is really not a lot considering what you're getting, and you can have one of them that's always on, which is handy. It's if you find yourself bouncing around from machine to machine. So I do recommend Goorm. It works really well from my experience. So anyway, once you're in the dashboard, you're going to create a new container. And in your new container, give it a name. I recommend something very descriptive like CS330. Container for CS330, whatever. Region, you obviously want the US because we're not in Korea, so it's going to be faster. I like to set them to private, but that's just me. You can leave them public if you prefer, but I like them to be private. For the template, and the deployment, template and not used. We will eventually be deploying to Heroku, but if you set it now, it's going to ask you to sign in and all that stuff. So it's easier for now just to not do that, and then it's super simple to push to Heroku later. Now for the stack, this is important. There's a ton of different stacks you can pick. We want Node.js because that's what this course is using. We want Node.js. I know it says Express over here, but Node.js because we're going to start from scratch and then add Express ourselves because it's very important that you know how to do that going forward. So Node.js, don't worry about any of the rest of these. However, if you want to experiment with other things, just kind of in your free time, you're welcome to. They've got all kinds of stuff. They got C++, they got Django, Flask, Jupyter's, TensorFlow is really cool if you're into machine learning. They got all kinds of stuff that you can use and set up. What's really nice is that you can use Swift. So if you're going to do any type of Mac programming, you can just use a Swift VM right here. Anyway, leave the template, the Node.js project. The OS, Ubuntu 18.04 long-term support is what you want. We don't want the old ones, we want the 18. Down here, we do not want MySQL or MySQL CTL. We do want MongoDB, and we do not want customization for whatever Udemy course this is. I'm assuming this person worked with Goorm to get a special customization set up. We're not that, so we don't want that. So we had installed MongoDB, we got Node.js, we're on Ubuntu 18.04, and we're good to go. Create. Must include alphabet. Okay, so no underscores, so I'm going to put a hyphen. There we go. And it'll take it a few minutes to create, so just give that some time, go get some coffee or something, and I'll be back in just a moment when it's done.
12 seconds later.
So the container has been successfully created, and you can either go back to the dashboard or you can just go ahead and run the container and go straight there. It'll open up a new tab with the container inside. Your old tab will be redirected to your dashboard. You can close that if you want, and honestly, I would bookmark this because we're going to be spending a lot of time here and a lot of time in these containers. So go ahead and bookmark this if I were you. So now we are in the goormIDE, and you'll notice it looks obviously a little bit different than you're used to, but there's a few things around here. There is your project structure. It gives you a default main.js. If you double click on it, you can look at it. All it does is just console.log something. So we can delete that. Yes, I want to delete it. Okay. So inside of here, what I would recommend you do is you're going to create a new folder for each week. So let's say week 9. Now I'm going to put all my week 9 stuff inside that folder, and week 10, week 11, so on and so forth, just to keep everything organized and make your life easier. Down here you have a terminal, so if I print my working directory, got my workspace right there, I can ls and there's nothing in it. All there is the manifest, which you can't see, don't need to worry about, and there's that week 9 folder I just created. So you got a terminal, you can search for things, you can monitor your resources because we have a CPU in our memory, and you can just see that, oh, look, the CPU spiked. That's when it was first being created, and now it's back down to hardly anything. You can see how much of your disk space you're using down there. Also your output, if you have any errors or anything like that, they can show up here. But generally speaking, you're just going to have your terminal open. I almost never use any of these others. You've got a lot of different stuff. File, just like you would think up here. You can edit just like you would think. One interesting thing is project, and this will come up later, but the running URL and port will come in handy when we start serving our websites and being able to access them live. So the running URL and port, by default, you should have one already populated. If not, or if you just want to customize it, you can put in whatever you want here. You can type in a bunch of random crap and register, and it will pop up down there. Personally, I just like to leave it like that, and that's going to be the website that you go to see your live web page once it's being run. If I go there now, it's not going to return anything because there's nothing being run. But if I were running something and I went there, I would see the web page. And that's mostly what there is to Goorm. It's just a Linux machine running in the cloud that you can access through a web browser.